Distributive property can be used if a number is right next to a set of parentheses. What happens with distributive property, we are going to multiply the number next to the parentheses by all of the terms in the parentheses. So we're going to start with an example that is a little bit more basic. When we have parentheses, we can say quantity. So our first example, we have 2 times the quantity, 3 plus 5. And I'm going to show you how we would normally work this out, and then I'm going to show you this using the distributive property. Normally with order of operations, we would do the parentheses first. So inside the parentheses, we would be adding 3 plus 5, which is 8. And then we would take 2 times 8, which is 16. So I'm going to show you now how we would do this using the distributive property. Using the distributive property is going to be a more difficult way of doing the problem, but I want to do it this way to show you that the distributive property does work and will give us the same answer. So using the distributive property, what we're going to do, we're going to multiply the 2 by all of the terms inside the parentheses. So we're going to start by multiplying 2 times 3. And then there's an addition sign in between the 3 and the 5, so we'll put plus. And then we're going to distribute the 2 to the 5, so we're going to do 2 times 5. At this point, we would do our multiplication before we do our addition. So 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 5 is 10, and then 6 plus 10 is 16. So you can see we ended up getting the same answer. The reason we need to be able to use the distributive property is an example like our next one. If we have a variable and we don't know what the variable is equal to, we have to use the distributive property in order to simplify this. So same idea, we're going to distribute the 4 to everything in the parentheses. So first we're going to multiply 4 times x, and then we're going to multiply 4 times 2. When we do this, 4 times x is just the same as 4x, and 4 times 2 is 8. Since we don't know what x is equal to, these are not like terms, we cannot combine these together. So this is as much as we can do with this. 4x plus 8 would be our final answer. So we're going to go through a few problems using distributive property this way. Our first problem, we're going to be distributing the 3. When I do this, I draw these arcs to remind myself that I'm multiplying these things. Sometimes people multiply to one term and not the other, so these arcs remind me of what I'm doing. So I'm going to multiply 3 times x, and then there's a subtraction sign in between here. So we're going to put minus, and then we're going to multiply 3 times 2. So 3 times x is 3x, minus 3 times 2 is 6. And again, I don't know what x is equal to, so that is my simplified answer, 3x minus 6. Number 2, similar idea. We're going to distribute the 5. So we'll do 5 times y, and then minus 5 times 3. 5 times y is 5y. 5 times 3 is 15. So my answer would be 5y minus 15. These next examples are similar, except you'll notice that they have numbers in front of the variables. So instead of just an x on number 3, I've got a 7x. The idea is still the same. We're still going to distribute. So distributing the 2, we're going to do 2 times 7x plus 2 times 1. For the 2 times 7x, the number parts we can multiply. So 2 times 7 is 14. So this is 14x. Just like if you did 2 times 7, you get 14. 2 times 7x is 14x. And then 2 times 1 is 2. And again, we don't know what x is equal to. Number 4, we distribute, so it would be 6 times 3x minus 6 times 2. So 6 times 3x, if we were doing 6 times 3, would be 18. So 6 times 3x is 18x. And then 6 times 2 is 12. So 18x minus 12. So this gives you an idea of how to use the distributive property.